This is the Coming Home Podcast with John Allen. And welcome everybody to this episode of the Coming Home Podcast with John Allen. And today I'm here with my brother. You know, you owe me some lessons in the haka. Inia James.
I do.
Remember, I haven't forgotten about that.
Not me either. Yeah,
How you been? How you been, man?
Dude, I've been great. I've been very good. Thank you very much.
Good.
Yeah.
You know, eventually the restrictions around COVID-19 are going to let up, and we'll get together and hang out, do some stand up together somewhere maybe.
I would love that. One of my goals for 2021 would be to do the John Allen podcast in person.
Yes.
So I can give you a big old bear hug when I see you.
Yeah. How about that? No, I would love to have you here, man. The studio is right here off of my living room in my home, so you get to meet my family, wife and kids, and I'm a good cook too, so you'll have reason to love me even more after you eat.
Okay, all right. I can't wait. Yeah.
You know, we were talking before we went live here. We were talking about how I am borderline technophobe. I wouldn't classify it as a phobia, but I am afraid of new electronics, new technology. It was quite the journey to get my podcast converted over to a video podcast. But one thing that I am extremely curious about is this whole thing with cryptocurrency, crypto media that a lot of musicians and artists, painters and whatnot are into. And then lo and behold, more proof that our friendship was meant to be. I look online and you're offering a course, not a free course, it's paid, but you're offering a course for people to introduce them into this world of cryptocurrency. And what is the crypto art called? And what is it called? NIF?
NFTs?
NFTs, I'm sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
NFTs and whatnot. And that's what piqued my interest mostly when it comes to the whole crypto world, is the possibility around NFTs as a musician.
Yeah.
So what got you into it, and what are you offering people?
Well, I have been kind of curious about the whole cryptocurrency situation for a very long time. And I just started to spend more and more time looking into the technology and understanding that what a lot of different cryptocurrency and different coins and tokens are doing is that they're actively trying to solve real world problems.
Yes.
And if there's one thing that everybody has experienced in the last year, is that there are a lot of real world problems.
Yes, quite true.
And look, everything seems to be going digital. Everything seems to be moving more and more away from the physical, especially in the last 12 months. And it just seems like this digital space is here to stay, even after the restrictions get lifted. I think more and more people are going to spend more and more time online, and more services are going to be digitized. And more important than that, I think that what the crypto space is going to be doing is going to be bringing more equality to people. And I think it's going to try to even the playing field between people.
Now, how do you see that happening? That's an interesting look at the whole thing, but it's I think it's also feasible, but how do you think that's going to happen?
Okay, let's have a look at the example of NFTs. Let's have a quick look at that. So artists, you're a musician, you make music. Artists generally earn around 10 to 12% of all of the income generated through their music. So there's a lot that goes to streaming platforms, a lot that goes to labels, a lot that goes to management, and all these other services. And artists actually get the minority share of that cut of the cake.
Yes.
In the last few years, artists have been making the vast amount of their money through touring. Okay, and once the world shut down, the artists aren't being able to make money through touring, but services like Spotify, centralized services, streaming platforms, they're making more money than ever. Yeah. So artists are the people that are producing the music, but they're not making any of the money from the music.
Isn't that sad? That is so pathetic.
That is so pathetic, and that is a fundamental flaw in the centralized system of the economy in the moment. And that is what digitizing NFTs, digitizing music, putting ownership into the hands of artists and musicians, that's how it can even the playing field. And And musicians is just the tip of the iceberg. It's just the very beginning. And I see that as a way where things can be a little bit more balanced out.
Well, I'm seeing artists like painters. Well, let's back it up. Let's take it away from NFTs and let's go back to Instagram. I've seen over the last year that Instagram has been a huge forum for painters and sculptors, where they will speed film themselves doing a painting or something, and it's getting, some of them are getting millions of hits on Instagram. Now, the problem, well, it's not a problem. It's always good to expose yourself for a public. But I wonder how difficult it is for them to monetize that. Okay, there's a lot of people looking at it. They're watching this film of you creating your art. They're liking it, but where's the monetization? Now we take it a step up to NFTs, and the monetization is quite direct.
It's totally direct because the person that owns the artwork is profiting from the artwork. And you're removing any type of middleman. You're removing any type of centralized business, which is going to have a lot of overheads, which is going to try to take a lot of profit. And the way that these centralized businesses and streaming platforms, they make money is at the expense of content creators.
Yes.
So nobody is going to go to an Instagram account to look at the ads that are generating money unless you have people adding valuable content.
Exactly.
And so with NFTs and with digital tokens and with the way that crypto is going, is that it's evening the playing field. That's what really appeals to not the anarchist in me, but the human in me. Like I have, you're a musician. I have friends that are musicians. Why are they getting fucked over? Why are they making money for Spotify and they can't afford to put food on the table?
Exactly. I'm all about artist rights. If you do the work, you should own the art, and if you own the art, you should own the profit.
Yeah, and unfortunately, like just the way the system has been in the last 50, 100 years, but especially lately, is that the artists have been getting less and less and less. And they're the ones that are producing the songs that you love. Yeah, they're the ones that you're connecting with.
And what a lot of people still don't understand, I still hear people, these musicians whining, what's their problem? And what they still don't understand is that the royalty system on Spotify, for example, it's like 0.00001 pennies per stream. And you could get 10 million streams, and you're lucky if you make $500.
Yeah.
Whereas with the NFT, here's the beauty in it. Not only can the artist create their music, not only can the artist sell their music as an NFT, but if I understood this correctly, and I might be wrong, like I said, I technology and me don't get along. It's all witchcraft to me. But if I understood the NFT concept correctly, I could put out a song or a whole album and put it out there for X amount of dollars. And I can enable other people to sell it on as well, but I can decide what kind of a cut I get. In other words, you open it up almost like a multi-level marketing type of thing where other people can help you sell your album or your painting or your whole gallery of paintings or a whole set of albums. Am I right? Is that
exactly? And I think there's different business models as an artist, and you can have like different ways of monetizing your content. And one of those ways is let's just say let's just say that you release a piece of artwork, whatever it is, like a song or painting. And let's just say you make that the exclusive artwork. That is the original, and it's verified on the blockchain. It's undoubtedly the one and only of that. It's the one and only. You could then go on to make an album a year later, and you could be like the biggest superstar in the world. And all of a sudden, that one painting that you put out before you blew up has now exponentially increased as your fame and artistry has improved. And so the value that somebody invested initially in something that was your artwork can then also be, greatly more valuable. And then they can sell that on later at a profit when they need the money.
And there's the beauty of it. The artist controls, it's like owning the master recordings to your album. This whole NFT concept, you are owning that original content in you, and only you decide what happens with it. You set the price. You decide what kind of a cut you're going to get if you allow others to sell it on for you. And I just think it's beautiful. And looking at that, if I were Spotify, I'd be pretty terrified right about now, because as a musician, why, even as a podcaster, now watch, now some executive at Spotify is going to listen to my podcast. I'm going to get booted off. But even as a podcaster, if I can go somewhere else where I control what people pay to hear my product or to see my product, if it's a painting, that's where I'm going to go, instead of actually paying a monthly or a yearly subscription to a distributor to put my stuff up on Spotify. Yeah. And I get nothing from it. No. Nothing. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, 0.0001 pennies. Yeah. That's what I get.
That's what you get. And I think, what's interesting about the NFT revolution is that Spotify was a disruptor to the CD market. It disrupted record stores. And now there are platforms that are disrupting Spotify.
Yeah.
So there's like another decentralized streaming platform. I think it's called Audius, which is the NFT decentralized version of Spotify.
Yeah.
So, Spotify had its reign. It's been.
Do you think they're going down?
10 years.
Do you think they're going down now?
No, I don't think they're going down yet. But I think, once it's like, the floodgates are opening a little bit, and more people are, as the NFT awareness increases and as things start moving in more in that direction, then I think they're definitely going to lose market share, 100%.
Now, NFTs are the new thing for distributing artwork.
Yeah.
Now, within that concept, people have to pay for things, and that is where the whole thing with cryptocurrency comes in.
Yes.
Now, it's not just Bitcoin. There's other types of cryptocurrency. Am I correct?
Yeah, there's many types, and different types of cryptocurrency generally solve different problems or have different use cases.
So if I'm going to sell an NFT, are there many different kinds of platforms I can go to place that NFT?
Yes.
Okay, and
there's each multiple marketplaces.
Okay.
So if you want to look at a marketplace just as like a shop or a store online, and all you do is, first of all, you have to mint your NFT. So if anything could be an NFT. This podcast could be an NFT. You could mint it, and then you just have to give it a unique signature that's verified on the blockchain.
Like a barcode almost.
Exactly, like a barcode. And then you put it online on this digital store, and then you put a price on it.
It's really that simple.
It's super simple. It's really, really, really basic. And I think we need to get the John Allen NFT going fucking ASAP.
So I think we're gonna do it. I think I'm gonna throw some cash your way, and I'm gonna buy into your course. And I'm gonna learn how to do this, because, like I said, I got very curious about, and I just ran into the NFT thing by chance about a month and a half ago, just by chance on YouTube, messing around on YouTube. And I found this NFT thing, and that's where I saw this artist who became a millionaire in less than a month because of NFTs with his album. And I'm like, oh man, I want to do that. And I watched 3 more videos, and then I'm like, I can never do this because of that technological hurdle, that new medium hurdle. Like I said, it was a big journey for me just to be able to get my podcast over to video format.
Yeah.
But then when I saw that somebody I know, I like, I trust, somebody who obviously has interest and some knowledge at least about this, I figured, man, this is perfect. This is a good match. I've got to get into this now.
Yeah. And I developed a course that is helping people start their crypto journey. And the reason that I did that is because I have been there with multiple people now that have wanted to get into crypto, and they just didn't know how to do it, and they've just missed opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. And then once they started getting into it, they just run into all of the same problems. They run into all of the same potential scams. They run into all of the same issues. They run into all of the same questions. So I started helping my mom, my girlfriends and friends, and it took about 1.5, 2 hours just to go through everything and then give them a complete breakdown up into a point where it's like, okay, You got this. Now you're on your own. Because it's very easy to get scammed in the cryptocurrency world. I almost lost $5,000 by clicking on the wrong link.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's fucking, look, as soon as you start digitizing currency and as soon as people start putting value, like real money on the internet, you're going to have criminals that are going to try to take advantage of your lack of security and technical expertise.
So someone who is a total newbie in crypto, how can I avoid being scammed? What should I look out for? How do they scam you?
Well, they scam you in a couple of ways. And one of the ways that I fell for, actually, and that's a lot of people will fall for, is that they will Google the name of an exchange or a place where they're going to buy crypto. And then what will happen is these scammers will have an ad that pops up as the first hit in Google. And you will click on that ad, and then you would think that you're putting your money into something which you've searched for, which somebody's recommended, but you're not. You're putting your money into some scam site, and they're going to try to hack you. And they're not going to hack you. They're just going to get your money. You're going to put your credit card details in, everything. And then your payment is either going to go through if they're not on a block list by the bank. And if your payment doesn't go through, if your bank blocks it, then they're going to have your credit card details. They're going to have your name. You're going to put your password in. Maybe that's the same password you use on other sites. Then they're going to target you because they know that you're interested in crypto and they know that you made this very beginner mistake. And that's exactly what happened to me. And that's exactly what happened to other people that I know.
How much did they scam you for?
I almost lost $50,000, about
$5,000. Okay. Yeah.
About $5,000 twice.
Wow.
Twice I did it. Yeah. So I was lucky because this particular site was on my bank's watch list. So my bank canceled the transaction on my behalf.
Wow.
And then they called me a minute after I put it in. And then they kept calling me and they wanted me to put it on by PayPal. And then I go, oh my God, something's wrong. And I happened to be with a friend who goes, you know what? This sounds like a scam.
Yeah.
I think you've gone to the wrong site. And then I was like, oh, fuck. I clicked on the wrong site.
You're so fortunate to have such a bank that's awake and looking out for your best interest. I tell you, I can only imagine, and this is kind of sad, I can only imagine the amount of people who have been scammed when they've been trying to get into crypto. And then, of course, that's going to be just a complete turnoff to most people. Most people aren't going to be like you. Most people aren't going to say, well, okay, live and learn, let me keep going. Most people will be scared by that one attempt, whether or not it succeeds. People will be afraid of that first attempt to scam them, and they'll run away and talk bad about crypto forever.
Yeah, and it's happened to people that I know. And, it happened to my mom, and it happened to me, and it happened to like a lot of, just people they just ran into this one encounter with these criminals that are going to try to take your savings in a time where every dollar is precious.
Where do these criminals originate from? Are we talking about organized crime, or are they in a little house somewhere in Hokksund over here in Norway? Or
yeah.
Sorry, Hokksund. I take every chance. I take every opportunity I get to take a crap on Hokksund. There's a lot of reasons for that, but I do. No, do you know where these gangs originate from? Are we talking about organized crime, Eastern European maybe, or is it more localized?
No, it's Eastern European, Asian.
Okay.
And I'm sure there's criminals in every country.
Sure.
But I think a lot of the times you got these, highly educated people in an environment without much opportunity, and they're very skilled in computer science, and they're in an environment which makes a lot of money using computer fraud, computer crime.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of it. This is their day job. This is what they do. They're either in scam call centers or they're in scam websites, and now they're targeting the crypto community.
Well, just like there's investors and smart people like yourself who have their eye open for new opportunities, there's also scammers and criminals who have their eyes open for those same opportunities in order to scam the newbies.
Yeah, exactly. And unfortunately, the criminals have more experience than the newbies.
Yeah. And probably a much broader network and a lot more financing and
Yep. And you're just one person there by yourself trying to figure out this whole new crypto thing.
But hey, I'm not by myself. I have Inia James.
You got me. You got me there, buddy.
We'll take on them dirty criminals from Hokksund.
Yeah, we gotcha.
So now, of course, I don't want you to give away the details of what you're offering people who want to learn about this, but what do you say to a newbie like myself Actually, I'm worse than a newbie in that I haven't taken any steps towards doing it. How would you bring me in? How would you explain to me what crypto can do for me? Why not just why shouldn't I just stick to the stock market?
No, that's very easy. The stock market is a big scam. It's a fraud, and it's going down. Like the stock market is the returns on the stock market is absolutely garbage. You know, it's collapsing. You know, it's a fiat based system. The American economy is just printing dollar after dollar with a lot of inflation, and you know, there's no stopping the printing that's happening in America now, and so the stocks aren't worth bullshit. They're not worth the money they're printed on. You know, it's a scam. The US dollar is a scam. And, you know, everybody knows it now. The jig's up.
Well, is it up though? I mean,
no, it might not even be up. They're still pulling
it's almost
shit,
like it's almost like people see the scam in the modern stock market and financial system. People see it. You hear people talking about it all the time, but they still are investing. They still are buying stocks. They're still investing in real estate. They're still doing all this. Are they just, I don't know, what do you think is the reason for that? People see the writing on the wall, but they just keep erasing it at the same time.
I'm not sure why people continue to make decisions like that, but I know a lot of people have moved away from that. And you can look at things like, you can look at people like Elon Musk.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
But one of the things that I did, I bought a bunch of, you know, cryptocurrency a few weeks before Elon Musk came out and announced that he was buying Bitcoin. And then basically it almost doubled the price, you know?
Yeah.
So you have these incredibly smart people who now they understand the nature of an inflationary dollar. They understand what's happening with just reckless printing, and they understand that the dollar is just going to be worth less and less and less and less and less.
Yeah.
And so the incredibly intelligent people, these people like Elon Musk, these people like Michael Saylor, these people that even Goldman Sachs, you know, big banking institutions, they started to say, okay, we don't want to have our money invested in the dollar because the value of the dollar is going to go down.
Yeah.
Let's move it over into cryptocurrency, something like Bitcoin, which Bitcoin's main value today, it's not used so much as a form of payment. It's used as a storage of wealth.
Yes.
And people are calling it digital gold. So you have these incredibly intelligent people that are putting their money into digital gold as a hedge against the dollar.
Yeah.
So if you had like you know, and this is what I'm doing, this is what most people in the crypto space are doing. They have $1,000, they have $10,000, and if they keep that in the bank, in 5 years, it's going to buy them less.
Yes.
But if they put that in Bitcoin, in 5 years, it's going to buy them more. It's as simple as that.
But isn't Bitcoin quite volatile? Doesn't it have some sharp dips as well that can be quite frightening? So
it does
would
have sharp dips. Absolutely.
So, and I'm no investing guru, but then I would assume that maybe the best thing is to think long term.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
You're not going to buy a Bitcoin to try and flip it in a month. I guess you could do that, but
that's a bad idea.
But the purpose of Bitcoin is long term, correct?
Yeah, it's long term, and it's. I mean, if you bought a Bitcoin now, you could flip it in a month, and you'd make, you know, maybe you'd make an extra 10, 20%. That's good. You can totally do that. And in that month, it's going to have some ups and downs.
Yeah.
But if you had that Bitcoin and then you sold it in 10 years, let's just say you had, like, the price of Bitcoin today is around, I don't know, $55,000, $56,000, something like that. Maybe this time in 5 years, it's worth $500,000.
Right.
You know? So,
and hallelujah, what an investment then. Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what it is. It's because it has a fixed market cap. They're not going to be able to print any more Bitcoin. I think the max amount of Bitcoin that they're going to produce is 21 million. Okay. So you think like and I think even like maybe 2 million of them have been lost. People have like put them on hard drives. They can't remember their passwords.
Isn't that crazy? Oh my God.
It's crazy.
I feel I get heart palpitations just thinking, oh God, if that was me and I lost my Bitcoin, that is now worth, you know, maybe 60% more than when I bought it.
Oh my God, dude, try 50,000% more. Try
Imagine,
20,000%
I know there are probably people, the first people to buy Bitcoin, who then, for whatever reason, maybe they listen to some negative media discussions about it, and they're like, screw this. And they may have lost it or erased it off of their hard drive or something. Can you imagine how they're regretting that now?
Man,
Wow.
I heard a story about a guy who got offered a hard drive with 500 Bitcoins for $500. Like whatever that was, 8 years ago, something like
Good
that.
Lord.
And he said, no, it sounds like a scam. What a waste of $500.
But you know what? I guarantee you. Now, I have a little more knowledge than that. I would know that that's not a scam. I would definitely look into it. But I can think of people like my wife, for example. She thinks all this stuff that you and I are talking about right now is a bunch of hocus pocus voodoo. It's all a scam. It's too good to be true. And there are a lot of people out there who think that way. And I wonder if it's because, now you said earlier that cryptocurrency can level and NFTs can level the playing field. And I see that. But I also see, if I can be a little skeptical now, I also see the other side of it that, Bitcoin costs around $50,000 some. That makes it quite exclusive to most people. So most people are not going to be able to relate to that. Most people are going to think a lot of negative, or they're going to think it's a scam. You see that, I'm sure.
Yeah, I get that. But the beauty of Bitcoin is that you don't need to own one Bitcoin. It's divisible up into, like 1/1,000,000th. So you might only want to buy 1% of a Bitcoin. Maybe you just want to put in, a little bit and own 10% of a Bitcoin. Yeah. You don't have to buy the whole Bitcoin.
Now, my question to you is, do you think that I already knew that, or do you think I'm hearing that for the first time?
I think you knew that. I think I think you knew that. But a lot of people don't know that.
No, and I'm kind of coming at my wife sideways, because she said that to me once. There's no way we would ever be able to buy a Bitcoin, because I think at that time they cost like $30,000 or something. And she's like, There's no, and I try to explain to her that there's different, increments, different percentages of a Bitcoin, and she just. But that speaks to the mystery around cryptocurrency for most people in the street.
Yeah, it does. And I would say this on what you just said about you and your wife. And
help me out now, because she will cut me if I do the wrong thing. Okay?
Yeah, I bet she will.
So help me out.
I bet she will. You don't need to own one whole Bitcoin to be wealthy in 10 years.
Right.
I think in 10 years, if you own one Bitcoin, you're in the 0.0000001% of the people in the world.
Yeah.
And that's just when you have a look at like a population of 8 billion people around the planet, and you divide that by 21 million, there's literally not enough Bitcoins for everyone. So the value of 1% of a Bitcoin, 2% of a Bitcoin is going to be astronomical compared to what it is now.
And that's what makes it so attractive to me. But again, I fear it. I fear it, but I am a seeker of information in all things, and specifically in everything that has to do with Bitcoin, NFTs, and whatnot. I see this as something that, with a little education on the subject, I'll lose that fear. I think I'll keep a healthy anticipation, but I will lose my fear of getting, of investing in that. And then I'll take my first step in there. And I can think that it's going to be quite the journey once I get started.
I think so. And, if you're somebody that is interested in technology, if you're somebody that sees a potential vision of the future, which is more online, which is more interconnected, which is more digital, if you think that that is the future, then once you start looking into this world, you're going to find a lot of incredibly passionate, intelligent people solving a lot of problems. And some of those problems you're going to really connect with, and then you're going to want to invest in some of those people and some of those tokens. And I think that is the best strategy. Maybe something like you might say, what, I really love what this decentralized Spotify is doing. I believe in their vision. I'm an artist. I produce music. I'm going to put a little bit of money into that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think people are going to start looking at not just Bitcoin, but they're going to start looking at these altcoins, these other types of coins which represent different solutions.
Now, you mentioned that that there are different marketplaces for, and each marketplace has its own currency, correct? So
Yeah.
Bitcoin cannot be used everywhere. If I want to make an NFT, for example, and I want to put it up on a specific marketplace, then I have to buy into that marketplace's currency, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. And the number one currency at the moment for paying for these NFTs is Ethereum. And
Ethereum, yes.
Ethereum. So
I saw that.
it's the second most popular, I wouldn't say popular, it's the second most valuable cryptocurrency by market cap. So there's a certain amount of money into Bitcoin, and then the second amount of money is into Ethereum.
Is it true that, well, before I ask that, let me ask you this. As much more of an expert than I am in cryptocurrency, if you were my crypto advisor and you see what I'm doing a podcast, I'm a musician, I'm a writer, and let's say I'm also thinking about getting into painting. Okay, so of those four artistic mediums, which one do you think is the wisest one of the four to get into NFT and cryptocurrency with?
What were the options again?
I talk too much. Music, writing, blogging, writing,
Yeah.
my podcast, and traditional art, painting. Because I've seen a lot of painters that will have a digital image. Sometimes they're animated. Sometimes it's just a still picture.
Yeah.
And then like I said, I got really fascinated by that musician who made over $1 million in profit in less than a month. So what artistic minded people, what should we do? Which one is the most the wisest medium to dip into?
I think that's not even an economic question. I think that, like, as artists, you should just always focus on. I think you should just focus on the expression that is best for that medium. So I think if you wanted to express yourself via music, then do that. If you wanted to express yourself by podcasts or writing or songs, then focus on that. If you wanted to monetize that, if you thought, okay, my goal is I've got this art, how do I sell it? Then I would say, like, currently at the moment, there seems to be a very big focus on music and digital art. But I think that the future is probably I don't think it's there yet. I don't think there's like a popular digital marketplace for blogging that's decentralized. So that could be something that's definitely coming. And I think that I haven't seen anyone for podcasts yet either. I mean, unless it gets listed on that Audius platform, which it might. I haven't seen that coming. So, the thing that is, for me, that is incredibly important about, like, this space as well, it's not where the puck is, it's where the puck is going to be.
Where it's going to be. You have to anticipate the movement. Yeah.
I think so. I think you got to do that. But at the moment, we know that, like, music is getting popular. We know that art is popular at the moment. And, there's these other things are coming. There's an entire NFT token based around selling fonts.
Yeah, I saw that too. Yeah.
You're right. And, this is something that's very interesting as well, because NFT can bring a lot of equality to any industry. Okay. You're you may start seeing something like an NFT based porn site. Okay. If somebody had an NFT based porn site, okay, because let's have a quick look at, like, how much money flows into the porn industry online every year. I think conservatively it's $10 billion, something like that. And it's difficult to get these exact figures, but I think it's ranged between 7 billion and 25 billion.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
That's a lot of fucking money. And there's a lot of data and there's a lot of traffic that flows to porn sites. Okay. Now, just like with musicians, who's making all of this money? Is it the actors? Is it the stars? It's definitely not. It's these centralized website businesses like YouPorn, Pornhub, Brazzers, whatever you name them, and they are all making a fuck ton of money off people's porn videos that they're not even getting paid for.
Right.
Okay,
right.
so you could have a look at a possible solution for evening the playing field in such a massive industry as pornography through the NFT marketplace. You know, you could
Wow.
you could create an NFT adult industry where people can upload their own content and get paid for that directly.
Yes.
And if you're a fan of a particular girl or a particular guy or a particular producer, you could then say, for example, let's say you want to buy that video and that video is yours. Okay. And then she's producing all these different videos every day, or he is. And then maybe you have that video, you know, you jerk off to it 50 times and then you go, I don't want this anymore. I'm going to sell it on. I'm going to sell it on. And in that stage, the video might have more value. The girl or the guy might be producing more and better content, get a bigger name. So that is just another way to look at how you can even the playing field in any different sector, any sector.
And that is so fast. That potential evening of the playing field, that potential monetization of personal artistic content fascinates me. Hey man, I think we should combine our talents. Okay, you're the film guy. Okay, so you can film the porno. How about I go out and find the talent, and we just see what we can get going here with the NFT porn.
We're gonna make a fortune. So when you ask me that question about where you should focus, you know, what should you do? You know, it comes down to you as an artist. It comes down to your goals. You want to try to make a bunch of money. And if you're an innovative person, if you're a person that's listening to this and you have ideas, if you start thinking, fuck, I can literally digitize any industry.
And that's why I wanted so much to have you on, so that we can spread this message out there to people. I see it every day, especially on Instagram. Artists of all kinds, whether they're musicians or a traditional painter or whatever, they're struggling to get their content out there. Look at the stand-up world. You know, they're struggling to find new ways to get their stand-up material out there. Yeah. And then this whole thing with NFTs and the whole crypto world, it just opens up a whole. I have a curiosity for it that I didn't think I would be able to have, because most of these things are, like I say, it's all witchcraft and far in the future kind of stuff to me. But this really captured my attention. And then again,
you know why? I think it captures your attention because you believe in people, because you believe in what is right, and you know that something is fucking wrong when artists are getting shanked.
If I was going to be any kind of an activist, I would be an artist rights activist. Mm-hmm. It hurts me to my soul to see musicians they're just getting their pants yanked down, and the record companies are just having their way with them.
Exactly. And if it's not the record companies, it's the streaming platforms, who I think are even partly owned by the record companies.
I was just going to say, you know, I can't say record company without saying streaming platform, and I can't say streaming platform without saying record company. They're hand in hand in this thing when it comes to screwing over the artist.
Exactly. And it's just a fucking scam. And it's I'd say, like, you can apply this to any art form. You know, the artists that make music are getting fucked. I would say, like, even people on YouTube who are creating content are getting fucked. You know, like, they're getting such small numbers.
Did you hear that? Now, I don't know if this is an urban legend, if it's some kind of conspiracy theory thing, but I heard that the United States government, the IRS, is going to start sending income statements out to any YouTuber that makes over a certain amount of money, regardless of what country they're in. The U.S. government is going to try and tax YouTubers for using this format that mostly American viewers are watching.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Absolutely disgusting. And I hope, you know, here I am, I'm living in Norway. Well, it doesn't count because I'm an American citizen, but any Norwegian living here in Norway, and if they have American viewers, and I know some Norwegian YouTubers who do have quite a few, several 100,000 American viewers, I hope that the Norwegian government steps in if the USA tries to tax those Norwegian citizens. Isn't that disgusting? I've heard it from several reputable news sources. I saw it on CNN. I saw it on the Daily Beast, and I actually saw a couple of videos from YouTubers on YouTube talking about it. So it seems to be some truth in this. Not that they are doing it, but that they're going to try and do it.
But that's
disgusting.
It's absolutely disgusting. It's people just reaching into content creators.
Well, it's another infringement of artist rights. It's yet another infringement on artist rights.
And this is the whole argument as well for a decentralized platform which distributes content and money flowing into that content equally.
I like the idea of being able to sit here in my home, in my studio, and write a new song, and I decide from that point going forward exactly what happens with that song, how I choose to monetize it, and who I choose to go into cooperation with.
Right. It's very empowering.
It is.
Yeah. And it's just fair. Like it makes
Isn't it? It's just right.
It's just right.
You shouldn't even have to argue for it. It's like, hey man, it's the right thing to do. I mean,
it's the right thing to do. Yeah. I mean, you're producing the artwork. Like, you are the one that people are connecting with. And there's just this thing in the middle which connects artist with the listener.
Yeah.
And that thing is taking 99% of the money. And I understand that it's important to have that thing in the middle. I get it. But maybe that thing can be a much fairer thing. Maybe that thing can be decentralized. Maybe that thing doesn't need to have like these guys that are making astronomical amounts of money at the top. Maybe that thing doesn't need to just try to take as much cash at every single level as they possibly can. And that's what happens when you have centralized organizations. Their entire goal is not equality. Their entire goal is to increase their profits every single year.
Yeah.
And look, the thing that's happening in America at the moment, it seems like there's just a radical distribution of wealth that's happening. I feel like the lower class, the middle class, they're just getting shook down. You're looking at people like these multimillionaires, they're just making more and more money.
Yeah.
The money is flowing. This is where I think the money is flowing from. The money is flowing from the eradicating middle class, the decreasing middle class, is flowing out of their pockets, is flowing from the lower class people's pockets, is flowing into the ultra wealthy. And guess where they're putting it? They're putting it into crypto. They're putting it into digital assets.
I don't know the numbers, but Facebook, Amazon, they have record-setting profits over this past year.
Yeah.
Spotify as well. While the American people have record-setting poverty. Yeah. So there's something wrong. There's something wrong with that. And I'm not trying to be some kind of communist. I'm not going to say there's something inherently wrong with capitalism, but currently there's something wrong with the way capitalism is being practiced.
Man, it's fucking bullshit. Especially when
the leading nation of all things capitalism has a poverty rate that it has, something is wrong with the way capitalism is being practiced. When the leading nation for capitalism has food lines stretching, out of sight, you can't even see the end of the food lines. Hundreds, thousands of cars lined up in places around the USA for people to get food. When that's happening at the same time as the top businessmen in the United States have record-setting profits, there's something wrong with the way capitalism is being practiced. And I think cryptocurrency, I think this thing with NFTs can be a way for the average Joe. I'm just an average Joe. You're a slightly above average Joe, but we're average people, and here's an opportunity for us. What I like about what you're doing is you're showing people that this opportunity is nothing to fear. Again, me being the guy who's a little bit shy of new technology, new methods.
Yeah.
So that's why I like what you're doing. You're showing people that there's nothing to fear. There's a way to get into this and gain knowledge.
Yeah, there is. There's a way to get into it and to gain knowledge. And this is basically my job. I wake up every morning at 5:00. I do 2 hours of crypto review, and then I go to my other job, and then I get back at 3 or 4 o'clock, and I do another 2 or 3 hours of crypto. So I'm constantly learning, and I'm constantly following at least the coins and the trends of things that I'm interested in. Nobody can be an expert at everything in crypto. There's thousands of coins. There's too much. But what I've done is I've like, there's certain solutions to problems that I'm interested in that I follow, and there's certain like bigger macro trends that I focus on. And so I dive deep into smaller things, and then for other things I take a bigger, longer time frame approach.
How isolated are you when you are researching and learning about this, or have you made a lot of, is there a lot of networking? Have you met a lot of new people because of your interest for crypto?
I have met a lot of people.
Okay.
I'm an active member in many communities.
So there's a payoff in not sitting alone in front of your computer. There's a payoff in actually networking because there's knowledge to gain from others, right?
Yeah. So like, it's you got to do both. So the way I do things is I wake up very early in the morning because the children are asleep, my girlfriend's asleep. I have 5 to 7 as the time where I can concentrate with deep analytical thought. I wake up and I get a coffee, and then I have a shower, and then I sit down, and my job starts at 5. That's it. And from 5 until 7.
That's interesting. You refer to it as your job. This isn't a hobby. This isn't something you're doing for fun. This is something where you are investing time, thought, feelings. You're trying to expand your knowledge. And what is your goal? What would you say your goal is for doing this?
Financial freedom.
Financial freedom.
Yeah, even the playing field.
My grandmother used to say, money will not pay for happiness, but
That's right.
It will pay for the search.
Yeah, it will.
Money is important. I've been happier with more money than I have been with little money.
Yeah. The thing that I see a lot in Norway with my friends, in Australia, less now in Australia, but I got a lot of, I'm still a very active member in the jiu-jitsu community, in the stand-up community. And I got a lot of friends that own gyms in different parts of America, and they've been shut down for a year. Yeah. They lost their business, man.
Yeah. It's sad.
It's sad. I got a lot of buddies that they were war veterans. They came back, they got their black belts, they opened schools, and they can't earn any money. And people have to turn to something else to feed their families.
Yeah.
And so they got to look to alternatives.
Yeah.
And one of those alternatives that they've been able to look to is cryptocurrency. It's an investment that's paying off over time. And the numbers are astronomical. The astronomical numbers. It doesn't even make sense. You've got these coins that have grown like thousands of percents in the last year.
Ethereum in particular, am I pronouncing it right? Ethereum?
Yeah, Ethereum.
Ethereum in particular, everybody, Bitcoin is the buzz. But I've actually heard more talk about Ethereum over the past year than I have Bitcoin.
Yeah, Ethereum has outperformed Bitcoin in the last year. Yeah. And then there are other coins which have outperformed Ethereum.
Oh,
yeah. So, if you have a look at like the top 50 coins, Ethereum and Bitcoin are like the top 50 performing coins. Bitcoin might have performed, like Bitcoin might be number 5, not number 6, but there are other coins that have done many, many, many magnitudes of like performance is better. So they're solving different problems, newer problems.
Now, when you say solving problems, how does Ethereum, for example, solve a problem?
Well, Ethereum solves a problem where people want to pay for things on a network. So like people aren't really paying for things with Bitcoin. But what Ethereum seems to be able to do is it creates a network, say, for example, maybe you can have a look at it like this. Like Ethereum might be like a giant mall. Think of Ethereum as a big mall. And then you have all of these shops renting space inside of that mall where customers go inside of and buy things.
Right.
But the currency that they're using inside of these shops is Ethereum.
Okay.
So, that's a very simplified way of like having a look at it.
Isn't Ethereum the one that's most popular with NFTs?
That's correct. So if you're going to buy an NFT, the currency that you're going to use to pay for that NFT is Ethereum.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it has whereas like, say, for example, Bitcoin is a store of gold, Ethereum is at the moment a working tradable currency. It's a coin that you buy things with.
I just think that's fascinating.
It is fascinating.
And the
It's
opportunities are endless.
endless.
You could make and market just about anything and make it into an NFT format and then
Yeah.
sell it, and then you control it.
Yeah. You can do whatever you want.
And
Like
then,
it's,
no, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, like, anybody listening can have a good idea. And you could even create a shop on this Ethereum network that you can sell something that hasn't even been thought of to be sold yet.
Yeah.
And that is the true power of cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
It's empowering that you can sell things in existing stores, like music or artwork, but it's also incredibly empowering that you can create your own shop.
I saw a YouTube video when I was first looking into all this. Some guy, and I believe he was using Ethereum, and he made it's like an animated PDF type of thing that he made into an NFT. And it was a little guy on a motorcycle that went down in a tube and then popped up on the other side, and then down in a tube and popped up on the other side.
Yeah, okay.
That's all it was. And it had some cool music. The whole thing was like on a maybe a 8 to 10 second loop with cool music in the background. And he made this NFT. In a couple of days, this guy had a $60,000 profit.
Yeah. Right.
And he, if I understood it correctly, he made it so that other people can sell. I think he put like 5 of them out there, and people could sell them, but he controlled how much of the proceeds came back to him. I think he set it for 15%.
Yep.
And in just a day or two, $60,000. Absolutely amazing.
Amazing. So empowering.
Yeah. And this guy was just he was your average Instagram artist who would make little animated things, usually with humor, and just trying to entertain himself and his Instagram following. And all he did was take that art, because it sounds a little silly. Some people are like, oh my gosh, is that art? Well, yes, it is art. This guy made it, he created it, and he just took it from his Instagram and put it into the NFT format in some marketplace. And I believe it was Ethereum that was the currency that he used. Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
It is. It's amazing. But it's following this macro trend that we're seeing of things being digitized. And you see it more and more. Like, people are spending more and more time online. Like, we used to play a lot more games outside. Now that's all online. Yeah. We used to, everything. Banking used to go in with a check. It's all online. Communication is all online.
So if a client comes to you then, Inia, and they want help to get into this, you take a fee to teach them, but then how much money do they need to invest? I mean, is there a bottom end amount that they need to invest in cryptocurrency?
No.
They can get in at any level.
Any level. You can get in with $20. No problem.
And that clears up a preconceived notion that a lot of average people have, is that you have to have astronomical amounts of, again, they hear that one Bitcoin is worth $40,000, $50,000, and they think that excludes them from getting into the crypto market.
No, yeah, I understand. Just to put it in like a little bit of perspective, I know a guy in 2017. He had $5,000. He put that $5,000 into crypto. Now it's worth $190,000.
That's absolutely amazing.
It is. It's absolutely amazing, and it follows a logical progression. Like, it's not hocus pocus. Like, it's not like some big Ponzi scheme, some scam. Like,
it's a legitimate market.
It's a legitimate market with more and more user cases added every day. And what is happening now is that it is not yet, but it's starting to become mainstream.
Yes.
And you're seeing this with like Snoop Dogg releasing NFTs.
Yeah.
I mean, like, all of what is happening is all of these artists are bringing attention into the crypto space through NFTs. So you could be some guy who just is a Snoop Dogg fan. Never been interested in cryptocurrency. All of a sudden, like, your favorite rapper has his own NFT. Yeah. You go, fuck, what's this NFT thing? And then you look into it, and then it introduces you to cryptocurrency. And then you go, you know what? I got an extra $500. I'm going to put that into Ethereum. And then the market cap of Ethereum increases. And then everybody that holds Ethereum tokens gets a little richer.
Yeah.
So that's what's happening. So that's what's happening now. So more and more people are getting exposed to cryptocurrency through different ways. And look, Snoop Dogg and artists like that, they're just the tip of the iceberg. At the absolute, like that is nothing. The real wave that is coming is through gaming. The real NFT wave is through NFTs being purchased for gamers. And there are fucking hundreds of millions of gamers around the world.
Well, the gaming industry is a big, huge pot of money.
Bigger than Hollywood, bigger than everything. Yeah. So, I mean, you're seeing what is happening now is you're seeing, and this is a problem that's getting solved. Okay, so people that are investing hundreds of hours into games, they want to buy unique NFT costumes or swords or knife skins, things like that they can then apply to their character. And then maybe their character gets like a particular hat or a shirt or a gun or whatever. And then they're going to play with that. And then they're going to go, you know what? I'm going to sell this on. And then they're going to go back to the NFT marketplace and sell it. And maybe it's increased in value.
It's just fascinating. One more question about the process, the investment process. Are there any difficulties in converting cryptocurrency to cold hard cash? It's one thing to have these assets built up in your crypto account, but it's another to be able to use it to, if you're an artist who is currently without a gig, you still have to buy food, you still have to pay your rent, so you need cold hard cash for that. Are there any difficulties in that conversion?
No, not really. There's not. I've taken. There's no difficulties. What usually happens is that people, and this happens with me and happens with everybody that I know, is that once you put your money into a growing asset, like a digital asset, you actually don't really want to spend it because you know that it's only going to increase in value.
Yeah.
So I live very modestly. I don't spend money.
Again, as we said earlier, this is a long-term investment.
It is a long-term investment, but if you did need to get your money out for whatever reason, and you can get a credit card that is connected to your cryptocurrency account.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no problem. So you can get like a Visa card that directly links up to your exchange that holds your cryptocurrency, so you can spend that wherever Visa is accepted all around the world, no problem.
Wow, a Visa card that is connected to a crypto account.
Yeah, that's what you can do. But what you're going to do, and I know this is what happens, you're going to be somewhere and you're going to see something and you're going to go, do I really want to spend my Bitcoin on this pair of jeans?
Yeah.
And you're going to go, this pair of jeans might cost me $100, but that $100 in 5 years
could be 100,000.
Worth 1,000. You know what? The jeans that I'm wearing are pretty good. I'm going to fuck it.
I tell you, it will, if you're smart, it will make you think twice about how you use your money. And let's face it, most people in the Western world, let's say most people here in Norway and in the United States and possibly back in Australia, could learn a lesson around wisely spending their money. We spend it on a lot of stupid stuff that really doesn't further our happiness at all.
No, it doesn't. And it really, like, I know people with a lot of money that have made a lot of money through cryptocurrency, and that you would never know it. You would never know it. Yeah. And they don't even want to spend it. They have like more money than you could possibly imagine. And they live like they're wearing the same sneakers that they had 3 years ago.
Yeah.
They're walking, they're on shitty bicycles, and like the money's there as comfort. They have it there, but they're just, a lot of them at least anyway, it's not like, you don't need to be jealous of them because they don't have anything. Like, fuck, you probably got more shit than they do.
I think I have too much mess sitting around here in this house. I'm not the kind of guy, I get some extra money and I start thinking about buying a car. That's not me.
No.
I don't, if I get extra money, it's kind of like, okay, well, that's nice. It's not like it opens my mind up, oh, now I have to spend more. But unfortunately, a lot of us in Western culture do think that way. You get more money, you feel like you have to spend it.
And that is part of the scam.
Yes.
That is part of the redistribution of wealth
Yes.
from the middle and the lower class up into the higher class that are selling you all that shit that you don't need.
Yeah.
And that's part of the hustle.
It is.
And that's why another reason why cryptocurrency helps open your eyes up to that bullshit, because you realize that the money that you have invested in crypto is only going to increase more the less you actually spend it.
Right.
So it kind of it flips your mindset.
It's an eye opener, and it's a shame that people aren't better educated in finance.
Oh my God!
Because I think that's what it comes down to. It's a lack of knowledge. It's a lack of education. I've always thought, not always, but I've thought for a long time that financial education should be a part of a school curriculum. You should be teaching kids that stuff from like junior high and then all the way through high school. Why not?
I think they should. And like a lot of the times you don't have time to think about this shit.
Right.
You wake up, you dress the kids, you get them to school, you drive 20 minutes to work, you work all day, you come back, you make dinner, you're tired. Maybe you watch a fucking episode of your favorite show, you go to bed. Yeah. Like the way that the system is set up is not designed to give you an abundance of time to reflect on your financial situation.
Yeah.
Like you just got to pay those bills and you got to get it done. But like if you had this financial knowledge from like a kid, and if you had people like just trying to explain things to you in like a logical way that makes sense, that is designed to look after you, not to look after society, not to look after the economy of the state that you live in, but to look after you, just you, then everybody would be better off as individuals.
I bump heads with some conservative American friends and acquaintances back home, and some of them are very quick to say, hey, I'm going to take care of me and mine first. And then after that, my loyalty is to the nation. And they kind of skip over that thing about loyalty to their fellow man. I don't think it's this filthy communist way of thinking to say that the weakest of us, if we were to make them stronger, it will then benefit the greater society, the nation.
Yeah, I think so.
And I think that financial freedom and financial education is a big part of that strengthening of the weakest of us.
Yep, it is.
Yeah.
It is. If people don't have to...
there's a selfishness, there's a conservative selfishness that permeates. It's just kind of bled through the greater society in the U.S. They're at least talking very loud, and they're so selfish. And any thought about helping the lesser of us is looked at as some communist thing, anti-American and whatnot. I say it should be flipped. And the American thing should be to take care of each and every American as good as we can. And that doesn't mean we remove personal responsibility.
No.
But opportunities to learn about finance, and then opportunities to practice finance in such a way that you can benefit yourself and your family. That, to me, is true capitalism. Because the weakest of us, if we're stronger, we're just going to help the entire nation. We're going to help the entire economy. The economy is shaky because there's only a few people that can take part in it at the moment. That's what makes the economy so shaky.
Yeah, it is. Imagine if you had all of those people who are, like at the lower end of society, fully educated and working and paying taxes and innovating and thinking differently and adding value to their community.
And crypto is a way of making that happen. Yeah.
It is, because it really, the thing with crypto is it kind of makes you your own bank. Yeah. It makes you your own investment kind of advisor. Like you got to start looking at things from your own perspective. And what happens in crypto is you put $1 in, you turn it into $2. You go, all right, fuck, that worked. I'm going to take out my second $1, leave the first $1 in there. Where else should I put it? What's good? Then you start doing your own research and you start thinking, oh, this solves a problem that I'm interested in, that I think has a future.
How many different types of cryptocurrency, or how many crypto markets are you currently invested in?
You mean like different kind? I would say like I probably have maybe around 25 to 30
Oh,
different
wow.
tokens. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. But I believe in most of them, I do. But I have a very, I have a very different strategy for all of them. Not all of them, but I group them into different things.
Yeah.
But, like I have some that are in like very stable, safe bets. Those are like the coins that, the good ones, the ones that you bring home to your mom.
Yeah.
And then I have some like real long shot coins, like some real sketchy, who knows which way this could go, like, wow, I don't know. Like, so I have some coins like that as well. And there's a chance that they're going to tank and do nothing, but there's also a chance that if they succeed, like, I mean, they're going to go up 2, 3, 4, 500%, maybe more, maybe 1,000%, maybe 10,000%.
Let me ask you this. What made you want to help other people get their foot in the door?
My mom.
Can you explain?
Yeah, so my mom is back in Australia, and she she's getting a little bit older, and she's in her 70s, and she's she's still working. She's like she's doing what she has to do, and she has a little bit of money in it. It's just kind of sitting there, and she's I tried to tell her now's a good time to maybe put some cash into this investment that I think is probably going to do well. And, she didn't believe me. She didn't think, she thought that like it was all a scam, and she thought that it was, that it was not going to go anywhere. And then,
Common reaction.
It's very common, very common. And then she tried to do it by herself, and like she couldn't do it. She ran into, several of these obstacles, and then, it just kind of like, I just saw, I was like, oh, you really need help. You need help to do this. And, you can definitely figure out how to buy cryptocurrency by yourself, and you can figure out your own strategies, and you can do that. Like, no problem. You can do that. But for some people, they definitely benefit from all of the experience and knowledge and the help that I can provide them. And I've seen that with a bunch of people, and I help a lot of people that are interested in getting into this space. And I've kind of like figured out a way which is going to get them into, I would say, like the greatest game in town in a safe way. And I can explain things to them in a way that's going to protect them, and that is going to empower them to make their own decisions, and it's going to empower them to understand what is happening in a very short, concise amount of time. And, I charge a very minor fee. I charge 10% of one Ethereum token, which is about $200 or 1,700 kronas. And, I would say that like, you're probably going to make that back in the next day.
Yeah, and people spend that much in a 3-day weekend out at the bars, at least that much. So it's not a big investment, but the potential gain is enormous.
The potential gain is astronomical. Like you wouldn't understand how much you can increase your wealth if you just had to like look at it from the outside. But once you're from the inside, and if you have somebody like me who can explain how it all works, can teach you about what investment is going to be safe but still increase, but at a slower rate, what coin is a little bit less safe but is going to like increase at a greater amount, what you could look at to try to like how to do research on these different coins for yourself, how to analyze a team that's behind things, just a lot of stuff that I've spent fucking hundreds of hours figuring out. And I think that like what I can do for people is I can just get them started in a safe way and almost contribute to their own economic freedom.
Well, that sounds incredibly attractive. I mean, there's really very little reason for people to not at least look into this.
Look into it. You know,
I'm
look.
looking into it. Like I said, when I found out you were offering this, I had to contact you, and I did, and here we are talking about it. That's how interested I am. Let me ask you this though: in these days of isolation and quarantine, what kind of format are you using to teach people? How does the teaching process go? Is it a series of phone calls, or is it one sit down with a video conference, or how do you do it?
It's a video conference that lasts about 2 hours. So it's 90 minutes, 2 hours, and we just do it like via video. And some people book a session and
Screen sharing and all of that.
Yeah. It's different people prefer different methods.
Yeah.
You know, I often use like Microsoft Teams and send them a link, or Zoom, something like that.
Yeah.
And then I help them visit, open accounts on safe exchanges, teach them like how to store their cryptocurrency in a safe way, what wallets to use, how to protect their passwords, how to protect their assets in case things take a drastic crash with stop losses, things like that. How to start looking into different types of coins that they might be interested in based on the time frame. So, I have one friend who is, she's traveling at the moment. She has enough money to last for a year. And she said, what can I invest in so that I can travel for 2 years?
You see, I started smiling right away. Just the idea of someone being out on the road, they're traveling, they have enough money to live for a year and not have to worry about income. What a life.
What a life.
What a life.
What a life. And I'm helping
Don't we
her.
all deserve that? Don't we all deserve that? Good God.
I think we do. And, one thing that I did when I was 21 was I went backpacking for 2 years. It's very common for Australians to be gone for that long.
Walkabout.
Yeah, exactly. So I spent a lot of time just traveling around the world, different parts of South and Central America and Europe and Asia. And it's the most liberating feeling you can have.
I can imagine.
So when I have this girl who's saying, I've got the money for 1 year. Is there anything I can do to get money for 2 years?
Yeah.
And the answer is yes, there is. Yeah, you can. You can invest your money in these incredibly growing assets, and you can stay out there on the road longer.
It's just it's doable. People just have to dare to take that step, and a lot of it is just having the guts to take a step in a new direction. And I can identify with that on a lot of different levels, but just the fact that when I moved here to Norway and the circumstances in which I found myself in when Snoopy and I moved here from the States, that was something, when I look back on it, I'm like, oh my God, I was crazy. The guts it took to do that under those circumstances. But yeah, it was crazy, and it took a lot of guts, but I did it. And it wasn't painful. I didn't suffer physically because of it. There was some hardship and some adjustment, but all that did was lead to more growth, which made me a better person.
Yeah.
And I can't help but look at this whole thing with stepping into cryptocurrency as it's literally a new step in an unknown platform for me or for that other person out there. And why not just do it? Why not just give it a shot instead of wondering about it forever, like I very well could have done if I hadn't seen your information about you having this course. Why not just step into it and do it instead of wondering about it forever? Just do it.
Yeah, just do it. Step into it and do it. And like if you do it by yourself, if you look into it, if you have the time and you want to invest into it, definitely do that. If you want help, if you want somebody who can give you some kind of mental tools, who can give you some perspective, who can save a lot of hours of your own research, then you can contact me and I'd be happy to help you take the first few steps into what is potentially your economic freedom.
Now, when I post this episode, I'm going to tag you on it and people will see your contact information and whatnot. But can you tell them here on video where they can find you?
Yeah. So you can, I'm on Instagram, Inia James. You can just send me a DM, or you can just send me a DM on Facebook, Inia James. or you can send me an email, iniajames@gmail.com. So it's basically, or you can tweet at me at Inia James. It's basically Inia James across the board.
Simple.
Every platform you can think of, there I am.
Inia James, INIA James, James for you non-English speakers out there. Inia
You
James.
non-English speaking fucks.
You non-English speaking. Hey man, I was on a Norwegian podcast yesterday. Yeah. They actually recorded it a couple days ago, 3 days ago. But oh my gosh, did I really feel the struggle to speak Norwegian for almost an hour. I'm not sure exactly how they clipped it up and how long the episode was, but we were on the phone for that episode for about an hour. And that is probably the most Norwegian I've spoken in the past year because, with isolation and quarantine and whatnot, I've been at home and we just speak English here at home. And man, I really felt that language thing.
Yeah. How did you do?
I did well. There's a good podcast. It's called Krig og Fred, War and Peace. It's a Norwegian podcast that NRK supervises. And they were asking me a lot of questions about police work, about the George Floyd murder and the current trial and things like that. So that's right up my alley to talk about, police. I'm a former cop and all that stuff. So right up my alley to talk about all that stuff is a lot of fun to do. And when people ask me my opinion, oh boy, can I talk. So I had it going for a good amount of time. It was a great experience. Great experience.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to check it out. I would like to hear that.
I'll send you a link. I'll drop you a link.
Yeah, do it. I want to listen.
Krig og Fred. If you're not a Norwegian speaker, if you don't understand Norwegian, there's no sense in listening to it because it's all in Norwegian. But for those of you here in Norway or other places who do speak Norwegian, Krig og Fred is the name of the podcast, and it's under the NRK umbrella. There, little advertisement for my outside activities there. I had to throw that in there.
Yeah, for sure. Good stuff.
So when are we going to make that porn movie? I see us. I see you filming it. I see me being the talent scout. I think my job will be more fun. And then we throw that son of a gun up on. Throw that son of a gun out there in the crypto world and see what we can do.
Dude, we're gonna have some NFT porn. I'm ready whenever you are. Let's do it. Let's get this thing going.
Don't get me started.
Yeah, but man, look, this is this whole journey into the crypto world, into equality, into digital assets, into the future of money, into independent financial freedom, into entrepreneurship, into the transition from being at the mercy of the bank to being your own bank. It's such an empowering thing.
It really is. It really is.
If anybody is listening out there, if anybody has an idea for something that they think could be interested in the digital space, if anybody's interested in creating some kind of new forum, the opportunity for doing something like that is amazing. And it seems like the business model is just finding something that exists in the real world and digitizing it and adding a layer of decentralization and equality. And if you can do that, if you're at home and you're thinking, I have this really crazy idea, it's probably going to work. Like that's the thing with all of this shit. Like, there's people that are selling digital real estate online. Like that is a thing,
You're kidding me.
No, I'm not kidding you. Yeah, I know. And it's expensive. It's getting more and more expensive. And people are investing in digital real estate.
Digital real estate,
yes. And if somebody said that they were selling digital real estate to you 5 years ago, you would go, "Oh my God, never. That's crazy."
But you know what? And my first response was I asked you if you were kidding. But you know what? That's really not all that. In fact, it's not crazy at all. Because when you look at the traditional stock market, that's nothing tangible either. That money that's floating around out there, where is it? Who has seen it? Who has touched it?
Yep.
It's all really just a construct of the mind.
It is. It's ones and zeros.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
Have you, I don't know, I can ask you this, I guess. Have you created anything thing, or are you cooking up something that can actually be put out there and digitalized, your own product? Or are you just purely an investor in products that currently are out there?
I made an NFT with a buddy of mine, and we just, we threw it up there just to test the process, and we did that just for fun. But I have recently quit my position as the general manager of this company that I work for.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, I have.
So you're no longer in the filmmaking business then?
No, I still am in the filmmaking business, but I'm not in the managing of the team business anymore. I've passed that torch over to somebody else who's doing a very good job with that. And I'm still taking care of my clients, on a project basis.
Yeah.
But I am very invested in the idea of looking at this space and trying to come up with something which could be, I'm fascinated by all of the possibilities, and I'm just going to take some time.
That's amazing. That's exciting.
It's exciting. And I want to try to come into contact with other like-minded individuals who are, willing to, somebody like you, who are willing to try to create something that's going to make the digital world and maybe the real world just a little bit more even, a little bit better,
Yeah.
And hopefully along the way, it's going to generate enough money for us to, live on and hopefully but this is the thing, like, it's insane, like how quickly you can build something in this space, like that font NFT marketplace.
Yeah.
I think it's worth $60-70 million in like 2 or 3 weeks. Like, it's ridiculous. It's fonts, that appeals to such a small amount of clients.
Yeah.
And if you think bigger, if you think digital real estate, if you think online porn, if you think online podcasts, decentralized comedy, decentralized YouTube, you could sell real estate as NFTs. You could disrupt the real estate market. Why do you need a guy in a suit to turn up to sell something that could probably sell itself? And if you could, there's so many legacy systems which you could look at, and you can disrupt them. You can solve so many problems.
Yes.
You could solve the problem of education and diplomas. You could make degrees an NFT so people don't clone them, so people can verify that they're legitimate. You could you could do anything, whatever exists in the real world. You kind of
just mentioned that whole thing about degrees just in passing, but something clicked in my mind, and I can imagine universities all over the world buying into something like that, because that is a problem, the falsification of degrees.
It is.
And certifications. Absolutely. Yeah. That's a thing.
It could be a thing. You could have that thing with driver's licenses. Yeah. You could have it with whatever you want, because the network would just verify its authenticity.
Yeah.
So with an NFT, you're verifying that it is the original. And you cannot do that just by looking at a piece of paper. You cannot do that if somebody just attaches a PDF document to a job application. So, there are all of these real world problems that can be solved through this new emerging technology.
It's only a couple minutes before noon today, and I tell you, I don't think I'm going to be able to sleep tonight. This conversation, this is the kind of stuff I do. I'm a thinker, and I'm not saying I'm smarter than anyone, but I do think a lot. I do analyze a lot. I'm always looking to learn something new. And this conversation has rekindled. Like I said, I was very interested in Bitcoin and NFTs some time ago, but I just kind of let it go because I feared the technology. But this conversation, man, has brought it all back home again. I don't think I'm going to sleep tonight.
Dude, I'm like this every night. Like, it's so hard for me, to turn off all of the potential.
But you know what? Isn't it fun though? Isn't it fun when you're planning for your own future?
Yes.
That's what it is. Yeah.
It's the best. And if anybody wants the blueprint towards making something like this, this is what it is. Solve a problem that you think you can be interested in investing your time solving.
And nothing is too crazy. If you think it, then there must be some way it can be applied. If it first drops into your mind, keep thinking on it, no matter how crazy you may think it is. You may wake up tomorrow and think that the idea you thought of yesterday was crazy, but drop those thoughts, reanalyze it, bring it back, and just keep building on it. And you can come to some pretty interesting solutions to some pretty interesting problems. Again, problems that maybe no one else really ever thought to question.
No, I mean, there's
it's fun.
anything.
It's just, that mental exercise is just, it fascinates me.
You know what? If you wanted to do something, write down an idea, solve a problem, talk to a bunch of people that have some cash. If they believe in you and the idea, make it happen.
Yeah.
That's it. You know, maybe that process takes 5 years. Maybe it takes 3 weeks. Who knows?
But it really is a simple process, but simple does not mean quick. Yeah, it can take a while, but it really is that simple. If an idea falls into your head, explore it till there's nowhere else to explore, and then take it even further then. And then involve the right investors who believe in you, and all of a sudden you've got something that's practical.
You got something that's practical. And, you know, it doesn't have to be this massive thing. It can be, you know, it can be something smaller. And that's what even cryptocurrency is doing. It is creating the opportunity to give micro loans to people who want to create small businesses.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's an entire network of micro loans in developing countries in Africa.
Yes.
You know, so you could say, oh, like I would like to give some money to this guy as a smart contract and help somebody build a small store in the middle of fucking Senegal or wherever.
Yeah.
You know, and so like it really is scalable. Like it can be like from the smallest, simplest thing up into the biggest, grandest thing. And it's really just up to you to have the idea. You might not even have the idea. You might just be the net for catching the idea.
Yeah.
And then the idea has empowered you with this idea, with this knowledge. And then if you want to chase it down. Write it down, make a plan, talk to some people with some money, make it happen.
Have you had a lot of people come to you so far asking for help?
Oh, yeah.
So this is a profitable venture. You know, the whole thing with teaching people how to get into the crypto world it's a viable business venture for you.
Yeah, it is. I wanted to do something that would help people and that would also help myself. And, you know, I'm getting paid in cryptocurrency, which is only going to appreciate. And all that cryptocurrency that I get paid in, I just put in a little bank account that just grows. Yeah. And you know, I hear, you know, it's good. And like I said, it's like I'm getting like 10% of 1 ETH, which is about $200. And if somebody invests, you know, like $1,000 or $5,000 or whatever it is, they're usually making that money back within the first week, if not the next day. So like
that sounds very promising. I'm in. We're going to talk. So I'm going to sign off now, but stick around because you and I are going to talk.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Peace out.
Yeah. So thank you so much for coming on, Inia James. Everybody, check him out. He's here to help you if you want to get into the crypto world. He's definitely going to help me because I want to get into the crypto world. I'll come back. We'll do another episode. I'll tell people how I'm doing. I'll tell people, how this journey went. And while it was just the chance of YouTube that got me interested in this, it is my friendship with you, Inia, that has furthered and rekindled my interest. So thank you for that. I called you brother before. I call you brother now. I call you friend.
Thank you. Thanks, John. It's been really nice talking to you again. And
likewise.
Thanks for having me on the podcast. I look forward to taking some epic steps in the crypto world together with you.
All right, man. All right, Inia James. Bye, everybody.